Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and we have a very exciting figure to take a look at today as we now officially have the brand new PNSO Pachycephalosaurus here to take a look at with you guys. And I just realized that, as always, I always put the Chinese side out front and center as opposed to the English side. I don't know why I do that. It's just something that continuously seems to happen because I don't pay attention or something, but we have Austin, the Pachycephalosaurus, as you can now see the name of the dinosaur right there. As far as the box art goes, we have a beautiful image of the Pachycephalosaurus here on the front, as well as, again, the PNSO logo and the title of the dinosaur right there. As far as the top of the box, another really nice image of the Pachycephalosaurus with the head sculpt. And then again, PNSO, every life deserves your respect, which is totally true. And then we're back to the front again. So without further ado, we're actually going to go ahead and break this open. We'll actually pull it out here on screen because the box is small enough to actually do that this time. And it's, it is the correct way, I would say. So we've got the Pachycephalosaurus right there, as well as the booklet that is included like we usually get, with another really nice image of the head sculpt of the Pachycephalosaurus on the front. And then once we open it up, we have the Pachycephalosaurus down here at the bottom, as well as an image up here at the top, again, similar to the image we just saw. And then we have information on the dinosaur and PNSO in both Chinese and English. And now we have this stuff on the same side, just like we saw in the last review of the Parasaurolophus, because on the opposing side, we have an incredible poster included here. And if I could just get the light to stop glaring on it so that we could see it. There we go. Wow, is that beautiful. I love the artwork that PNSO creates, and I love the fact that they've started to include it on posters in each and every release. It's stuff that I would like to hang up on my wall, each and every one of them, because the artwork is honestly phenomenal, and you can see that again right here with this beautiful Pachycephalosaurus artwork. Man, that is nice. I love that they include that stuff in the newer releases. And then we have our actual Pachycephalosaurus itself, which we will pull out of frame here for just a moment. And the stand just came flying out because I wasn't prepared for that. And then here is our Pachycephalosaurus, and it is beautiful, although it actually does come with a stand, just like with each release so far that I've seen from PNSO where they've included that stand. You don't need it. It seems as though the figures do stand quite well on their own, but I think they include it just in case the legs start to warp over time, and then you end up having some difficulty at a later stage as far as the dinosaur continuing to stand. But right now, the Pachycephalosaurus stands beautifully, so I'm really psyched to get a closer look at this. It looks incredible here at first glance, so without further ado, let's go ahead and do that right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of the Pachycephalosaurus, you can see that the actual detailing looks incredibly well done. The actual texturing to the head, although very fine for the most part, pops really nicely on the model. You can see that the actual texturing, is very vibrant, pretty much consistent to what we've seen with PNSO, as I feel like their detailing gets better and better every time I see a new figure of theirs. We have kind of a very nice light tan for the coloration of most of the face, although as you get closer up there toward the dome area of our Pachycephalosaurus, you can see it darkens quite significantly with a very dark brown, like a burnt umber brown. The eyes are painted with a blue, giving a nice black pupil, and they are actually really quite nicely painted. You can see that there's also a light coloration that sort of circles around the eye to highlight the eye, and then it darkens around the blue area of the eye, and then of course we have the black pupil. I think the eye has, quite a significant amount of paint in it, but it really pays off in the overall appearance to the Pachycephalosaurus. Really makes that eye pop quite beautifully. The mouth area as well looks really nice. The beak specifically is sculpted quite beautifully. You can also see some darker areas here on the lower jaw of the Pachycephalosaurus. As we move up here into the top of the head, you start to see some of the kind of like armored areas of the Pachycephalosaurus, and you can also see the dome is beautifully sculpted. Again, Very, very well done as far as the detailing aspect goes. It's very realistic. You could see almost like some larger scaling here that starts to kind of taper off to smaller scaling and just get smaller and smaller the closer you get to the dome area of the Pachycephalosaurus, and then of course it becomes nice and smooth. However, you can still see some cracks and crevices included within the dome, making sure that it looks super realistic and super lifelike. And you can also see some of the, those spikes that run around the back of the head of the Pachycephalosaurus are really nicely dry brushed with a light gray to make the detail pop quite realistically overall. As you start to move back here into the neck region of the Pachycephalosaurus, you can see some more really nice detailing back here as well. Lots of really nice movement kind of shown within the skin with different creases and everything. You can see some hanging skin here on the underside of the Pachycephalosaurus's throat with some more really nice creasing and beautiful texturing in there as well. And you can see more beautiful skin folds and stuff and skin wrinkles all throughout the entire throat region of the figure. We have this beautiful green coloration, which I feel like is a very realistic tone of color for a dinosaur like this. Pick up here starts to lead from the back of the neck and then overtakes pretty much the entire upper side of the dinosaur, but you can see some of these like lighter tan spots and stuff that show up here and there, making sure that the coloration just meshes so well together. And then on top of like this tan, this lightish tan, there's also like an orangish brown, but like a real light hint of that orangish brown that shows up throughout the figure as well, giving it some really nice color variation and just generally looking very pleasing to the eye. You can see the body is pretty much littered with osteoderms all over the place. You can just see them popping up all over the Pachycephalosaurus. And again, the actual detailing aspect, you can see how nice and vibrant it is as far as how beautifully elaborated from the sculpt it truly is. Like, it really pops all over the figure. As you move down into the arm looks really quite nice. You can see some muscle tone right there, and then you can also see the hands look pretty good themselves. The figure seems to have potentially been given a little bit of a darker wash in certain areas to make the detail pop quite nicely. I feel like you can see that there in the hand area. You can see the skin stretching off of the body right here as this leg is pulling back, stretching that skin. So as usual, PNSO showing the movement of the dinosaur beautifully within the sculpt, and you can see how smooth the transitions between the colors there are. Like the orangish brown transitioning to that off-white is incredibly smooth and incredibly realistic. As you move up here into the hip region, you can pick up on the hip a little bit right there. You can also see some wrinkles right there, again showing some more of the movement in the skin of the dinosaur as it's walking along. Some more very nice looking muscle tone in the thigh region, as well as the kneecap is present right here, and then you can see the calf muscle also right there, nicely elaborated. Some more nice skin wrinkles here in the joint of the back of the knee. Beautiful paint application yet again, as you can see all of the transitioning here as well looks really smooth. As we move down into the foot, the coloration transitions to a darker color like a green, similar to what we see up here, which I think looks really nice on the figure as well. Beautiful looking foot sculpt, nicely painted nails with a black for the nails right there. You can see on the opposing foot that there is a dew claw present as well, which also is painted, and you can see actually on the opposing foot how nice the scale detail of the feet look, because this foot's a little bit more open. This one's kind of scrunched up again due to the positioning of the dinosaur as it walks along, so it's a little easier to see how nice the detail looks on the opposing foot. And then as we move back up into the body, you can see more really nice texturing to the skin, more nice detailing to the skin with lots of wrinkling and everything going on right here. Again, showing how this leg is pushing into the skin right here, scrunching it up as it walks along. And then we lead out the length of the tail. You can see some more of those osteoderms picking up, and the greenish coloration starts to just stripe down along the course of the tail, and you can see that runs the entire length of the tail as far as that striping goes. A very nice, very realistic curve to the tail as well. As you can see it walking along, it's not in any type of a dramatic position or anything. Very realistic looking in that aspect as well. And then when we come to the opposing side of the head, you can see a little bit of sloppiness to the eye, but the eye is super small, so it's impressive that it was painted as nicely as it was to begin with. And honestly, I don't think that takes away from the figure really at all, because it's just a small, tiny hint of sloppiness. The eye otherwise looks really good as far as the paintwork, especially when you look at that kind of lighter coloration that rings around the eye. It looks really quite nice. And the tones, again, are beautifully placed on the head, very nicely elaborating like the dome skull area, where the way they have this brownish coloration that kind of rings around and makes sure to highlight the face and the dome at the same time, but also looks incredibly natural on the figure overall. And then we lead back into the neck, and again you can see lots of creasing going on this side. The Pachycephalosaurus actually has its head turned slightly to its right, so that's why you see so much creasing, more so on this side than what we had seen on the previous side. So that is a very realistic aspect of the figure, something that you would definitely see if this dinosaur were alive right here in front of us in the position that it's in. You would of course see more wrinkling on this side in comparison to the previous side, especially right here back behind the jawbone. You can really see the wrinkling right there. Again, we continue to move down the course of the body. You see more of those osteoderms picking up. I like that this arm is in a little bit further than the opposing arm, so it's scrunching the skin right there, and they've shown that off really nicely in the sculpt as well. The arms are in a very natural position, I would feel like, kind of a relaxed position for the dinosaur. And you can see more really beautiful detailing in the stomach region as this presses into the stomach as it's walking along. You can see all the wrinkles and everything in the stomach are beautifully shown in the sculpt. As usual, PNSO continuously delivers a very high quality and very detailed sculpt in each and every dinosaur that they release. That's why they pretty much release the definitive version of every species in figure form, it seems like at this point. And that's definitely the case with this Pachycephalosaurus. As you move back up here into the hip region, again, you can make out the hip bone a little bit right there. Some more of the really nice osteoderms that litter the body run down along the thigh region. You can see the skin stretching off of the body really beautifully right there. Again, the muscle tone is displayed in fantastic fashion in the sculpt, as well as the kneecap right there. And of course, you would see the muscles tensing quite nicely the way you see them here as this opposing leg is starting to pick up off of the ground. The right leg would probably be bearing most of the weight of the dinosaur, so the fact that the muscles do appear to be tensing quite a bit is definitely a realistic aspect of this model as well. And then you can move down into the foot, and again we can see the foot sculpt quite nicely on this side because again the opposing foot is kind of scrunched up as it's taking a step up off of the ground. This one is nicely planted, so you can see the foot sculpt a little bit better, and you can definitely see how gorgeous looking it is overall. And again, the very nicely painted nails that we have there. We can now see the dew claw on the opposing foot as well. And then again, those skin wrinkles look great right here as we lead up into the tail. You can see those osteoderms and stuff poking up here and there again. The really beautiful transitioning between colors and that nice green striping that runs the course of the tail. The entire underside of the Pachycephalosaurus as well looks great from a detailing aspect and a paintwork aspect. So this model is just phenomenal and is unquestionably the best Pachycephalosaurus that I have in my collection. So now we can kind of get an idea of what the Pachycephalosaurus looks like if you actually used the stand to hold it up, and I think it actually works quite nicely. And the one good thing about these stands that PNSO includes is the fact that they're clear, so I feel like they don't really take away from the model even if you do use them, because they're not like some kind of obnoxious color like a dark black or something that really stands out a lot. The clear really helps for the overall appearance to definitely look still quite nice, even including a stand, but at the same time, again, we don't need the stand. I almost just knocked the poor thing over, but the figure absolutely stands perfectly on its own. For a size on our Pachycephalosaurus, for a length, you are looking at right about the 7-inch range, maybe a little bit over or around the 18-centimeter area for a length. And then for a height to the top of the head, you are looking at about 2¼ inches, maybe a little over or around the 6-centimeter range. For a size comparison, here are two other PNSO figures as we have the Pinacosaurus and Parasaurolophus next to our Pachycephalosaurus, as well as what I would consider to be one of the other fantastic Pachycephalosaurus figures out there, but obviously isn't even near as nice as the PNSO version, which would be the Batat version, the older, long retired Batat version. I figured you guys would probably like to see that one in comparison to this new PNSO version, but I must say the PNSO version is much nicer than the Batat version. Even though the Batat version is really nice, that PNSO version is just gorgeous. And hopefully in comparison to some of the other PNSO figures, I figured a comparison with other PNSO figures would make more sense here with the Pachycephalosaurus. Hopefully you'll have a pretty good idea of the fact that this is a pretty small release from PNSO, but as far as a Pachycephalosaurus goes, I feel like they hit the nail right on the head. So this brand new PNSO Pachycephalosaurus is gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. I did not expect any less from PNSO. As always, they continuously blow my mind as far as releasing incredible figures time and time again. And once they had announced this Pachycephalosaurus, I was confident that it would be the best Pachycephalosaurus in my collection, definitely the best one that I had ever seen at that point. And I can say with complete confidence that here in person, it is still, without question, the best Pachycephalosaurus that I've seen so far, and it is just gorgeous. I love the sculpt. The sculpt is really nice. Again, it is as highly detailed as it gets for a dinosaur figure. PNSO never ceases to amaze me when it comes to adding in every little ounce of detail that you would find on the dinosaur that they create, and they add it in brilliant and beautiful fashion, and the actual detailing aspect of their models continuously is so crisp and so vibrant, and every little skin fold, every little osteoderm, and everything on the figures just pops so well on the models. And I think that's one thing that I really admire about the PNSO line, is just how beautiful the actual detailing aspect comes off on their figures. Another thing that's really good about this is the pose. I feel like the pose is really nice and natural looking, as the Pachycephalosaurus just kind of appears to be walking along. I really love that kind of slight dip in the tail as it's walking along. It just looks so cool on the model. I'm definitely a big fan of the pose of the figure. And then we have the paint scheme. The paint scheme is phenomenal, really beautifully applied, a very realistic look for the dinosaur. As far as the paint scheme goes, they've applied quite a few different tones of color to make sure that it has the most realistic skin tone possible, and everything on this looks perfectly like skin color as opposed to paint on a figure. So this Pachycephalosaurus is easily the best Pachycephalosaurus, not only in my collection, but I can say out there currently. As far as a figure like this goes, I can't think of any that can compete with this. It's definitely a beautiful release yet again from PNSO. So if you would like to pick this up, I will include a link in the description to both the Amazon PNSO store and Dan's Dinosaurs, where you can pick this figure up for yourself. So make sure you check the description, go purchase this beautiful PNSO Pachycephalosaurus, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.